All right, we're here with Rita to talk about this idea of congruence. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, so first we're going to understand congruence, and then we're going to determine if some shapes are congruent or not. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's take a look. Okay, so first let's define what congruence means. So if two figures are congruent if you can either translate, rotate, and or reflect one shape to get the other. Okay, so these are some of our transformations. Notice that we didn't say dilate here, okay? So it's only if translating, rotating, and reflecting. Let's remind ourselves what those things are. So translation is when you slide a shape, okay? You're going to move it up, down, sideways, etc. So we took shape A here, we moved it up, and we moved it over to make shape A prime. Okay, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, now let's talk about rotation. So rotation is you're going to take one shape like this triangle B here. You're going to pick a point out in space, and then you're going to rotate the shape till you get a different shape, and that's shape B prime. Okay?
Okay.
And then there's one other thing, reflection here. So with reflection, it's a little bit different. You have shape C here. You're going to define some sort of line that can act kind of like a mirror. And then you're going to reflect the shape over. So here we made C prime by kind of reflecting in this line right here. Okay?
Okay.
So if a shape can be translated, rotated, or reflected, then it's going to be congruent. So you can see that, probably start to see that the angle measures are going to be the same, and the side lengths are going to be the same. Okay, so that's what makes something congruent. So now let's go over here and see if we can define whether or not some different situations represent congruence. So here, let's look at example 1. So we have shape A here, and we have shape A prime over here. And I've gone ahead and thrown them on the coordinate plane so we can see kind of the measures a little bit more easily. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think has gone on here to get from shape A to shape A prime?
It looks like it was translated.
Translated, okay. And actually we did 2 translations. So let's go ahead and list them. The first translation is we went up 8 grids on the coordinate plane. Okay? And then we went to the right 9. Okay? And that's how we got from A to A prime. So there's actually 2 translations, and you're right. All we've done is translations here, so that means that these 2 shapes, A and A prime, are congruent to one another. Okay?
Okay.
Let's look at another example. So here we have shape B and shape B prime. So what do you think about this one? Does this represent congruence or not?
No.
No. And how do you know that? Just by looking at it.
One's smaller than the other.
One's smaller. So are the side lengths the same?
No.
No. And as we said, if something's congruent, if 2 shapes are congruent, their side lengths are going to be the same. So how did we get from B to B prime here? Can you describe how that happened?
Yeah, well, it looked like it was translated down, but also dilated.
Right, and you could probably do those in either order. Here we've listed here that first you translate down 10, and then we dilated or resized by 40%. So we went down in size by 40%. So this, you're right, is not congruent, because it can't be had by just translation, rotation, or reflection. You need to have a dilation in there, which means it's not congruent. Let's do one other example here. Okay, so here we have shape C and shape C prime. And just by looking at it, what do you think? Do those look like they might be congruent?
Yeah.
They do, right? The side lengths are the same, the angles look the same. Let's figure out how we got from C to C prime. Any ideas there?
Another translation and maybe a reflection.
Yeah, because they're kind of mirror images of one another. And actually with those 2, you could have done them in either order. So here we listed it as first reflect in the y-axis. So remember, whenever we do a reflection, we want to have a line that defines where that mirror is. And here, in this case, we just call the y-axis that mirror line. Okay, so we reflected in the y-axis. Then what did we do to get to C prime?
Then translate it down.
Yep, we translated down. It happened to be translated down 9 grids on the coordinate plane. So if we just do a reflection and a translation, is that allowed for congruence?
Yeah.
Yep. So those 2 shapes are congruent. C and C prime are congruent. Okay?
Okay.
You got a good idea of congruence now?
Yeah.
All right, great. Good job.
Thanks.